Masekenemo shadabarate. Irado masekete. Akonama shadabarata. Raganama sekete. Ishababa. I come in the name of Jesus. Any evil prophecies that is working against your life, evil prophecies that.
All right, Shalom, Shalom, Akim. I want to start off by giving all the glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash. I want to give double honors to my elders and apostles like Grand Millstone, who rule well and teach well, and peace and salutations. The Akim pushing this truth, gospel, in full sincerity and charity. It's the brother Yahweh Barak. And as you can see in that video, that woman was, so-called evangelizing and so-called speaking in tongues. And ultimately, she was going out of order. In the midst of, in her eyes, trying to do something good and righteous, she's going out of order and leading people astray. Because she's calling on the wrong names. She's, babbling, basically. And, speaking in tongues, which is not even the real version of speaking in tongues. She's just speaking habashabadaba. But, we're going to bring out some precepts because I see this a lot on Instagram Live and YouTube Live. A lot of these women trying to go on and teach and lead because they want that spirit of authority. All right, so first book is 1 Timothy 2:12. But I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence. So, this woman is using authority, in those live calls, and speaking over men that are commenting. She's calling on the wrong names, and she should just be in silence. It says she's just being a loudmouth. Maybe she has good intentions or whatever. We don't know her like that. I mean, I did see she was wearing a head wrap, which was good. But you can't be deceived by these head wraps with these women these days. I said it before, and a lot of the other brothers say it. Don't be deceived by shalawams and cons from these women, man, because deep down inside, a lot of them are full of shit. This one right here, man. Job 39:17, but because Yahweh hath deprived her of wisdom, neither had imparted her to understanding. So he's dealing with the man when it comes to wisdom, He gives the man a different form of understanding and knowledge and just understanding when it comes to this book and the spirit of prophecy. And ultimately, a lot of these women, they cannot understand that, Not to say that that a woman, she can't read or anything, can't, understand what she's reading, but she doesn't have the same gift of understanding as a man would, It's just not meant for her to go out and teach. And this verse highlights that, man. He deprived her from wisdom. Women mainly think based off of emotion. They do not think logically compared to men either. That's one thing that needs to be highlighted, They're very emotional creatures. That's just the way that they are. That's just been the way that they've been wired ever since Adam and Eve, Let's see. Yeah, so, this is another one too right here. The book of 1 Corinthians 14:34. Let your woman keep silence in the churches, for it is not permitted unto them to speak, but they are commanded to be under obedience, as saith the law. So these women need to be obedient. And when you see in Babylon, man, is they want to be these Christian evangelist women that just go out and they do all sorts of stuff, man. They just want to be out of the house, gathering abroad, up on the big stage, trying to, masquerade light. But they're actually, like I said, they're going out of order. They're not supposed to be doing that. They should be keepers at home. They should be respecting their husbands. They should be quiet. They should be asking their husbands for guidance and understanding, But instead, they're going to all these church pastors, and they're looking up to them instead, And another thing too, be a part of these congregations before in the past, way in the past, and they be a bunch of women in the calls, man, and that's like they're listening, but at the same time, like it just creates a whole form of disorganization. There should be they should stay separate. You know what I'm saying? And you see in these churches that they go and they're like looking up the pastor for spiritual guidance, even over their husband sometimes. It should be the man's job to guide his woman and whatnot. But yeah, he doesn't permit them to speak. So you see these women going up on the stage, pastors at churches, youth group leaders, so on and so forth. They never want to just take that rebuke and just be in silence. They just want to always be seen, always have attention. It says it in the book of Titus 2 and 6, to be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, good, obedient to their husbands, that the word of Yahweh be not blasphemed. So it says that they have to be keepers at home, obedient and good. They shouldn't be arguing with their husbands. They shouldn't be quarreling with them. They shouldn't be out of the house, gathering abroad, going to Miami and Dubai, man. Nah, man. A lot of these men, they marry these deadbeat women, bro. And this doesn't really pertain to this conversation. It just shows that women are out of order in Babylon, man, because they drank that Babylon juice, man. Everyone is drinking from the cup of Babylon, you know. And I want to bring out this in the Strongs because I'm not familiar with this word, but let's bring this out right now. Let's see if we can find any definition. Salaki Akim. Just one moment. Yeah, let's see what chast means in the Strongs. Let's bring this out.
Strong's G53, Hognos. Hognos.
All right, so Hognos, and it means reverence, vulnerable, sacred, pure. Pure from carnality and modest. So you see that? Pure from carnality. The carnal ways of this temporal evil world, man. Pure from every fault, immaculate and clean. It doesn't mean that we're absolutely perfect, but a woman, a woman that's chaste is somebody that is not conforming to these carnal ways, these being out of order. She's modest in the way that she dresses. She doesn't have to like flaunt herself with outer appearance. She's very vulnerable, pure. Looks up to her husband for guidance. Very, very important thing a woman needs to do, man. Very, very important. And speaking about that, let's fight because I had this verse. In the book of 1 Timothy 2:9, in a manner also that women adorn themselves in modest apparel with shamefacedness, sobriety, not with braided hair, gold, pearls, or costly array. So the women think that their value goes based off of how they dress and just flaunting themselves. No, man, it's a spirit inside. If you're calm, if you're a keeper of peace, you provide peace for your husband, not a bunch of fucking bullshit, not getting him all worked up, man, because that's gonna keep him away from serving the Lord. And a lot of women don't understand that though. Yeah, but Hakim, they always want to say something, get the last say. Um, and this is Proverbs 17:1. Better is a dry morsel and quietness therewith than a house full of sacrifices with strife. So let's break that out in the NLT as well. It says, better is a dry crust eaten in peace than a house filled with feasting and conflict. So, you know, uh, a lot of people in Babylon, they want to be with a wife. They want the wife, the kids, the nice house, the nice big family table with all this food. But in the midst of that, you're with a worldly woman, or you have strife and contention with your family members, or your kids are out of order, your kids disrespect you. For what? just to have that false sense of reality, you know. So it's better to just eat in peace, you know, even if you're by yourself, but you're serving the Lord, Yahweh Hashem Shai, then you're good, you know. Um, and this is the last verse I'm going to bring out. It's Ecclesiasticus 25:16. I'd rather dwell with a lion and a dragon than to keep house with a wicked woman. So, you know, these women are wicked, man. They really are, and they've been defiled in Babylon. A lot of beast, animalistic women, man. They do not care. There's very, and I mean very few sincere sisters that are modest and that take heed to order and that actually care about this scripture. Not the ones that claim to, but they're full of shit and they want to have a little bit of the world mixed in with these scriptures, you know, because you can't mix oil with water, man. You know, it just doesn't mix. And that's what a lot of these women try to do. You know, they try to pervert this doctrine. So honestly, Akim, just stay away from these women that want to go out and teach like this and prophesy and create all sorts of attention. They're not going based off the doctrine. We should know that already. Yeah. With that being said, Akim, stay away from these women because it ain't worth it. Especially these ones that want to preach and teach and you know make all these scenes just to be seen and heard. They want to mix the world in with this truth. It just doesn't mix. It's like oil and water. And if you do see this happening online, whether it be on Instagram Live or TikTok Live or wherever, you call it out, rebuke these women because they need to be rebuked. Nobody's there to rebuke them, not their pastors, not the people around them. So you gotta call it out how it is, because they could be leading the potentially the whole elect astray. Those that haven't heard the full truth yet. So with that being said, Lord willing, this was an edifying lesson. With that being said, I want to give all the glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash, and double honors to my elders and apostles, the great milestone that rule well and teach well. Shalom to the whole elect.